Hello, friends. Are you ready?
What's for dinner?
I'm hungry.
Yum, 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 yum.
Delicious.
Let's go, everybody.
Yay!
Oh, gosh. Am I on?
Yeah. Camera, lights, action.
St. Basil's New Year's Eve 2024 cake. Βασιλόπιτα ευτυχισμένο το νέο έτος 2024. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner. Happy New Year to all. I hope the upcoming year is one of the best ever. I hope you guys had a lovely, lovely, lovely nativity season. Well, we're in the nativity season. I hope you celebrated the birth of Christ with lots of love and happiness and joy and glorification to the Lord, first of all. So it's time for us to do our Greek tradition that we do every single year. St. Basil's New Year's cake. Well, obviously this one is going to be St. Basil's 2024 cake. So, before I get to more details on that, don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner. And if you need to reach me, you can email me at zoesblindkitchencorner@gmail.com. You can comment at the bottom of this video on YouTube and I will get back to you. You can comment on Facebook if you're watching this through Whose Blind Life Is It Anyway, and I will answer you. Believe me, none of your messages will go ignored unless they're rude. Yeah, no. Anyway, so back to our recipe, St. Basil's 2024 cake. Last year I did cake that was, if you remember, it was using grated almonds. It was a little bit more, I wouldn't say completely traditional. We have somewhat traditional with a modern touch. This one this year is a totally different one. It's very modern. This has nothing to do with tradition. The only tradition here is that we're making it New Year's Eve for St. Basil. We are going to insert the coin and we're going to follow all the traditions of blessing the cake and cutting it, and everybody gets a piece and whoever finds the coin is blessed for that year and lucky or whatever. We will eventually, I'm going to try to do a different one for you guys every year. Eventually, we are going to do a very traditional one. This year, I chose to do something modern. Just if I didn't mention it last year, I know I mentioned the story of St. Basil, so I'm not going to mention it again. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. One of our biggest saints in the Orthodox Church. If you type in the life of St. Basil the Great, you will find the story, and it will probably mention the tradition of the bread or cake or whatever called Vasilopita in Greek. And I'm going to remind you that once this is ready, baked, cooled, and so on and so forth, my husband will bless the cake by crossing the cake 3 times with the knife, and then he will portion out the New Year's Eve St. Basil's cake, Vasilopita. He will portion it out. The first piece goes to our Lord Jesus Christ, our Savior. The second piece goes to the Mother of God, the most blessed woman ever, who was humble enough to accept God's will and give birth to God himself. What an honor for her. The third piece goes obviously to St. Basil himself. The fourth piece goes to the home, meaning Zoe's home. The fourth piece is going to go to the eldest, which is my mom, Catherine. Katerina. Say hi, Mom.
Hi.
That's my mom. She's shooting the video. She's going to try her best. And then the portions continue. Then we'll cut out my husband's and mine, and we'll start going through our nearest family members. For example, my stepdaughter, my sister-in-law, so on and so forth. If there's pieces left over, we will cut a portion for the poor. We'll cut a portion maybe for all the world, and or a portion for the church, and so on and so forth. We'll see how that goes. If I remember, and I'm not too tired, and I'm not bogged down with too much food in my stomach, I may tape it for you. I don't know. But if I don't do it this year, I will eventually do that for you guys. What else do I need to let you know before we start? Yeah, so my mom does suffer from asthma, so you may hear her coughing a little bit. She does have lung disease, like COPD, so please forgive her. Mom can't control her coughing, okay? And it's not because she's rude. It's not because she doesn't want to. It's because she can't. Okay, let's get to our ingredients because we have a lot. So I'm going to move towards here. In my mixer bowl, you probably can't see it. I don't even know if the camera can catch it, but I've got 200 grams of unsalted butter. Back here, it's a pitcher. I've got 500 grams of orange juice. If you have enough oranges and you can do freshly squeezed, go ahead. I would do that, but I didn't have enough oranges. I'm just using, I am using organic, a store-bought organic orange juice, which is actually really good. It's one of my favorites. Then over here, I've got 400 grams of white sugar. Here in this little guy over here, I've got 1 level tablespoon of baking soda. And I've done the math work for you guys. It's 14 grams of baking soda. Back here, I've got 600 grams of all-purpose flour. In front of that, I have 100 grams of cocoa powder. In front of that, here, I have 100 grams of full-fat milk, homogenized milk. Here, I've got 6 eggs. They're in the package. And I think I mentioned everything here. If my mom can turn the camera over here, Mommy, here, I've got the ingredients for the icing. We're going to use 500 grams of icing sugar. We're going to use this. This is a plastic container, and I'll show it to you guys when we use it. It's glucose. In Greek, we call this glikosi. It's a very sticky, gummy, thick mixture. We call it glikosi. I looked up the translation on the internet. Some said glucose, some said glucose dextrose. Oh, I can't remember. It's something you can get at bakeries. I don't know if you can get it. I did see something called glucose syrup, but this is very thick, in my opinion. This is very thick to call it a syrup. So if you don't have it or you can't find it, you could do the icing without it, or you can maybe use a little bit of corn syrup. That would be my go-to substitution. Then we have, it's a little tiny jar, glass jar. I get this at Greek bakeries. It's vanilla powder. So instead of extract, it's actually a white powder that smells like vanilla. It comes in a jar. I'm not sure how many grams. I think there's 30 grams in here, or 20 or something like that. If you can't get vanilla powder, don't confuse this with protein powder or anything like that. It's specifically for cakes, for desserts, vanilla powder. If you can't get this, please just use half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay? So we're going to use about a quarter teaspoon of vanilla powder. We're going to use a tablespoon of the glucose. And I've got some butter and some flour here for the pan. Okay? So we're ready to go. I have the butter in the mixer. So right off the bat, I'm going to open up the mixer bowl. And I'm going to pick up my white sugar. And I'm just going to add it all in. That's it. Add in the sugar. Close the mixer bowl. And I'm going to stay there. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes.
And I'm going to mix this on, I'm going to start on low, and then I'm going to take up the, let me start it. I didn't plug it in. That's nice. Forgot to plug it in. Hold on. Sorry about that. All right, now we're plugged in. I'm going to start the mixer on low, and I can hear the sugar moving around. I'm going to beat this for a couple of minutes on low, and then I'm going to take up the speed to medium, and I'm going to let it beat for 10 minutes. I want this to cream really well. Okay? So, we'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay, guys, we've got 3 seconds on our timer. There it goes. You probably can't hear it over the mixer, but it's dinging at me. So I'm going to stop it. Just put it aside for now. Okay, so we've mixed our sugar and butter for 10 minutes. Now it's time to add in our eggs. Just going to move some things out of the way so we don't have an accident. Okay, so now it's time to mix our eggs in. Remember, with your eggs, we've got 6 eggs, right? So it was 200 grams butter, 400 grams unsalted butter, 200 grams unsalted butter, 400 grams white sugar, and now we're going to mix in 6 eggs. So I'm going to crack the 2 eggs. I've showed you how to do this before. If you don't know, go see tips, tricks, and how-tos on separating eggs. Okay, and over the opening of the mixer while it's running, I'm going to add in the 1 egg. Now at this point, you got to wait a few 30 seconds for it to, so the mixture can absorb the egg, or you can turn up the mixer. Okay? Turn it back down, add the next egg. Hopefully I won't get a shell in here. That is possible. Okay, next egg. We're already on our 3rd. Add the 3rd egg in. Hold on, let me grab a little piece of paper towel to get the egg snot off my hands. Okay, so now the 4th egg. Over the opening, which I can feel with my hands, Drop the egg in. Wait a few seconds for it to be absorbed. Let's do the 5th egg. Whoops. Okay. Get rid of the carton. We're done with that. And I've got the 6th egg in my hand. I'm going to crack it on the side of the sink. And add it in. All right. Now, give me a second. Okay. Now, on our counter, we have our flour, chocolate, baking soda, milk, and orange juice. It's time for us to get the orange juice. Whoops. I have the orange juice in a pitcher so that it's easier for me to pour. I'm going to take off the lid. I've got a wooden spoon because I need it to be long enough to stir up the orange juice. I'm going to add in our 14 grams of baking soda. I'm going to add it in and stir. And it's going to fizz. And I can hear it. If the mixer wasn't running, you would hear it too. Sighted people can see it fizzing. So it's all fizzy. So I'm mixing. Hopefully it's all dissolved. Mommy, you think it did?
Yes.
See? Mom says that it did. Okay. Orange juice smells so good. I feel like drinking it. But now it's got baking soda in it. We can't do that. So now, I'm gonna add the lid back on the pitcher. So this is like a little tip for blind people. Blind people. I'm gonna use a pitcher to pour my orange juice instead of a bowl, because with the bowl it's harder for me. Now, what you need to do at this point is you're gonna add in. Hold on. Hold on. Whoops. Okay. I just grabbed a little quarter cup in my hands. I'm gonna add in some flour into my mixture. So I filled up the quarter cup and I found the opening, and I'm just gonna turn it and add it in. Okay? I'm gonna add in another one. Okay? That's 2. Now my mixer should be a little bit higher, but because I want you guys to be able to hear me, I have it on low. It's okay, it's still gonna get done. Okay? I added in a 3rd cup. Gonna add in a 4th. And a 5th. Okay? Now, I'm gonna pick up my pitcher and I'm gonna add a little bit of the orange juice mixture. Okay? I added in a little bit. So what you're gonna do is exactly what I'm doing now. Now I'm gonna grab more flour in my cup and I'm gonna add it in. So you start with your flour, orange juice, flour, orange juice, flour, orange juice, flour. You don't have to do it that many times, but the point is you start with your flour, end with your flour. Okay? So you saw what I'm doing. I'm gonna put you on hold so I can finish adding my flour and my orange juice, and we'll come back for the next step. Okay guys, we finished mixing our mixture. We finished the alternative flour, orange juice. We did scrape down the bowl once to get rid of all the flour that were on the sides, and then we mixed for not even a minute, and the mixture is ready. You don't need to overbeat, okay? As soon as your flour is in the mixture, it's absorbed, then you're good. How do blind people know? Well, honestly, when you finish adding in your last little bit of flour, let it beat for about a minute, turn off your mixer, scrape the bowl, pushing everything to the middle, and whatever's on your rubber spatula, beat it for about 30 seconds to another minute, and then stop the mixer. Now, I'm not going to show you this on camera because I've done it before. I need to divide the mixture into two, because the one mixture is going to be chocolatey and the other mixture is going to be white. Now, sighted people kind of approximate with their eyes. For me, I'm actually going to weigh my mixture as much as possible. And I'm going to add the chocolate to the one mixture. So I'm going to put you on hold while I divide the mixture, and I'm going to come back and show you what we do with the chocolate. Okay? So, okay guys, so I weighed my cake batter. It was about 1,920 grams. Is that right? Yeah. Anyways, I separated my batter into 960 and 960. Okay? So, I have two bowls. My mixing bowl that has half my batter, and a plastic bowl which has the other half of my batter. Back here I have 100 grams of milk. I'm just going to stay there. I'm going to put it in the microwave, and I'm going to warm it up. Probably...
Κάτσε, δεν είναι στη μέση.
Μάμα, δεν πειράζει. Πόσο λέει εκεί? 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Let's try 35 seconds. So I'm warming up my bowl of 100 grams homogenized full fat milk for 35 seconds. I'm gonna dip my finger into it. If it's warm, we're good to go. Warm towards hot. So hold on. Give me probably about 10 seconds. Okay. I'm gonna stick my finger in there, and it's nice and hot. Actually, maybe a little too hot, but it's okay. It'll do good for the chocolate. Okay, I'm gonna go back here to the counter. I've got my hot milk, should be warm. I overheated. And I've got a bowl of 100 grams of cacao powder. Okay, so in my bowl of my 100 cacao, whatever, I'm gonna add my milk. And I'm gonna stir. Τότε γιατί το λες? Now I spilt a little bit. My mom made sure to say it on camera. So I might have to add just a little bit more because I'm having a hard time mixing this. Should be able to dissolve it, and it's not. Έχεις απολύ, How much? Like, μία...
2-3 κουτάλιες.
2-3 κουταλιές is a lot. So let's warm up a little bit more. Maybe 10 seconds of warming. You think that's too much?
Είναι.
So give me a second. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So be careful that you don't spill it like I did. Okay, I've added the milk into the chocolate and I'm going to stir as best I can. Now, don't worry if it doesn't dissolve completely. Okay, you're gonna try to, it's gonna be a paste. It's gonna be a paste, but we're gonna scrape it all and we're gonna put it into one of our batters, one of the two. And I'm gonna use my hands and I'm gonna throw it into my one batter. So it's like a very, very thick paste. So now what I'm doing with my fingers, I'm pushing this gummy, gucky, chocolatey paste. The bowl fell out of my hands. Accident. Oops. I can't get any more. Think it's pretty good? Le vieni?
Parte spatola.
Think so? Yeah, but I've got it all over my hands too. It's not gonna work. It's all stuck. But despite what my mom says, this is all a very light coating. I can feel it with my hands. It's a very light coating. It's good enough. I'm just pushing whatever's off the spatula into my hand. Okay. Now, I need to mix, I'm getting everything off my hand. And I'm just going to wipe up the counter for a second from the spilt milk. Okay, take your chocolate mixture and stir. You need to stir this so it becomes completely chocolatey. So it becomes complete one. It needs to be a dark mixture without streaks. So just keep folding and stirring and mixing until it becomes one color. How do you know? Well, you don't, because you're blind. Sighted people can see, they'll figure it out. For us, you just keep doing it until, I don't know, you get tired. Or until a sighted person says it's good. Posto vlepis?
It's okay.
It's okay?
Mm-hmm.
See, Mom says it's okay already. Okay. So, throw what's on your spatula off your spatula as best you can. Now I've got a little plate where I'm just putting my spatula on there. Okay. I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I've got two bowls, a chocolate mixture bowl and a vanilla mixture bowl. I have a medium-sized aluminum pan which is not very high. It's about it's about 3.5 fingers high. So maybe 4 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, who knows? And it's probably a 12-inch diameter pan. So it's a medium-sized pan. It's not a small. Don't use an 8-inch. Use a 10 or a 12, something like that. Okay? So we've got our pan. We've buttered it and floured it. And just a little tip. I probably have mentioned it before. But if I haven't, when you butter your pan with your fingers, make sure the butter goes everywhere. Put it in your fridge for about 5 minutes. Because your butter is warm and softened. When you put it in the fridge, 5-6 minutes, whatever it is, you'll feel it with your hands. It should get cold. So if the butter is cold, then you flour it. And don't use your hands to flour it. Throw flour in the pan and then turn the pan around and make sure it gets coated over your sink. And tap your pan and make sure the excess flour drops into the sink. So at this point, guys, you're going to grab ladles. So I'm going to grab a ladle of vanilla batter and I'm going to let it drop into the pan. Don't worry if it doesn't drop all out of your ladle. Now go to your chocolate, grab some chocolate, approximate next to your vanilla, and let your chocolate drop. Okay? Doesn't matter if it doesn't drop all. Take again, go to your vanilla, turn your pan a little bit, throw in a spoonful of vanilla. Approximate next to it. Doesn't matter if it goes on top of each other. Okay? Let it fall naturally. So I'm going to keep doing this until I finish the bowls. And I'm going to come back and show you the next step. So see you in a bit. Okay, guys. We finished putting alternate batters into our pan. Chocolate, vanilla. Then kind of when you finish going around the pan, throw a little bit in the middle. Then kind of try to do... You could always put your finger or like a sticker or something on the outside of the pan to know where you started. And then, so if you started with vanilla, then on your second layer, you're going to go chocolate, vanilla. You're going to start with the chocolate. So that way you get alternate patterns. You get vanilla on top of chocolate, on top of vanilla, on top of chocolate, and so on and so forth, until you finish the whole batter. And you don't need to really flatten it out. The batter flattens itself, but what you can do is go tap, 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 just to get rid of any of the air bubbles, okay? Now, I have a piece of tin foil in my hands. This is actually very big. It's as big as the palm of my hand, and that's way too big. And I've got a dime. Now, in the olden years, they might have put an actual real gold coin. Nobody does that anymore. Well, maybe they do, but anyways, I'm going to put the dime on the tin foil, and I'm going to fold the tin foil over to completely cover the dime. Now, you don't need too many layers. So now I've completely covered it, but I have way too much tin foil. So I feel the dime. I'm just going to cut around. That's it. Just cut it and make sure the whole dime is covered in tin foil. Throw this piece of tin foil in there, in the sink. Mommy, don't move. I'm not going to show you this because my mom's in the way. Just stay there. I am going to dip my dime in flour. Okay, and what I did is I dipped it in flour. When you insert your dime into your cake, don't insert it flat. Insert it on its side. Okay, so I'm gonna, and don't go 2 in the middle. Don't go 2 to the edge of the pan. So I'm gonna insert right there. And I'm just gonna push it in. It's gone. It's in. Now I'm not gonna lick my finger. Stay there, Mommy. My oven is already preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So our cake is ready. I'm going to bless it in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. May Saint Basil always intercede on our behalf, and may we have a blessed New Year's. I picked up the pan. I'm opening up the oven. Very hot. And I'm going to put the cake in the pan, in the oven. Mommy, is it in the middle?
A little bit left.
Left. There.
Mm-hmm.
We're good?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Cake is in the oven. Set the timer for 1 hour. Press start. Timer's working. I am going to check on it before the 1 hour. I'm going to check on it at the 50-minute mark. And I'll see you when the cake is done. Bye. See you later. Okay, guys. We're back. I'm a little bit agitated because I misread the recipe. The recipe said bake for 1 hour at 355 degrees Celsius. Because most recipes are 350, I misread, and I tried to bake at 350. So it actually took 1 hour and 35 minutes for it to be ready. If I had the proper temperature, it probably would have taken an hour and 5 minutes. Now, I have it on a baking rack, cooling. It cracked open at the top. It's probably because it wasn't the right temperature. This is not an issue. Remember, we're going to ice this. It actually looks nice because it looks like a mountain. My mom liked it because it looks all nice and puffy. While we're waiting for this to cool a little bit so we can take it out of the pan, I have a dinner plate. And on the dinner plate, I have paper towels. And I have a bottle of red maraschino cherries. I'm going to open this bottle. It's a brand new bottle. Oh, come on. There it goes. Plop. Okay. And over the sink, so I don't spill it, I'm going to insert a spoon and I'm going to pull out some cherries. Okay, let's see how many did I pull. Oh, I pulled 3. 1, I'm placing them on the paper towel. 3, letting the syrup drip off the spoon into the sink, and I'm going to repeat until I get 12. I want 12 cherries. You can do as many as you want. Whoops, I just lost a cherry in the sink. So I've got 4 and 1 in the sink, or 2. You can decorate many ways. While I'm doing this, I'll be talking to you guys. A nice way is to go 12 cherries around the edge of the cake. And then maybe some chocolate chips in between. With a knife, you can carve the numbers into the icing that we are going to make. Or you can use chocolate chips to make the numbers, like 2024. Or you can use chocolate syrup in an icing bag if you're good at that. Or you can make the numbers out of chocolate chips. Did I say that? Out of almonds. You can make the numbers out of anything. You can even make, what you do is you decorate the cake, you write the numbers, and then you also make the sign of the cross on the cake. Now, you can cheat. If you have a friendly neighborhood local bakery, you can take your decorated cake with your cherries and maybe some chocolate chips in between the cherries around the edges, and you can take it to a bakery and you can have them professionally What are they going to charge you? $1? My local bakery doesn't charge me anything. I have done this before. I've cheated. I've taken my cake and I've said, can you put Happy New Year 2020, let's say 2024, and the sign of the cross in nice blue letters or red letters. Let me see how many cherries I got. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got, oh, wait a second. 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I need 3 more. Nine, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. Okay. Let these cherries dry out a little bit. Let the syrup drain into the paper towels. So, set your cherries aside. We need our vasilopita, our New Year's cake, we need it to cool down completely before we can ice and decorate. So let me close up the bottle of cherries. Okay. That's just my timer telling me that I have taken the cake out of the oven. I set it for 15 minutes. I have a bowl with 500 grams icing sugar and I have a wire whisk. Okay. So what are we going to do now? You're going to take your glucose dextrose or glucose syrup or just glucose, whatever you want to call it. Open it's a plastic container. Like I said, I get it from my bakery, and this has a very long, it's shelf stable. You can just put this in your pantry. Ooh, it's all gooky. Yeah. Now, if I stick my tablespoon in there, this is all gummy, gucky stuff. It is going to stick to my spoon. So, I don't want to get olive oil in my glucose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my spoon down for a second. I got some of this gooky stuff on my hands because it's on the cap. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil on my fingers. Just drip a little bit. And I'm going to wipe my spoon with a little bit of olive oil. Just a touch, not a lot, because you don't want the olive oil getting in your icing. You just want to coat your spoon. If you feel like it's too much, wipe it a little, which is what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it's lightly coated, and what I'm going to do now, because again, I don't want to stick my oily spoon into my glucose. So I'm going to grab just a regular tablespoon and a plate. And I'm going to go over to the jar, the plastic container. I'm going to scoop up some of this thick, stringy glucose, and I'm going to pour it on my plate. Like maybe about 2 spoonfuls should be enough. And again, if you can't find this, use corn syrup. That should be enough. We'll see. Now, I'm going to, and this is sticky stuff and it gets everywhere, so be prepared. Okay. Now I'm going to take my actual tablespoon that I oiled up and I'm going to fill it. Or at least I'm going to try. But this stuff is, it's hard to measure. That's not 1 tablespoon, look.
Yeah.
We need more. We need more. Because it sticks to your fingers. So I'm going to scoop up some more. Body. Okay, and I'm going to push it to my tablespoon. It is going to get all over your hands, guys. This is normal. We need to measure out a tablespoon. Okay, good enough. Let's see if it'll fall off the spoon with the coating that I did. I'm just getting it off my hands. Yeah, right. Okay. It's not quite off, but let's go. Let's pour this glucose into our icing sugar. Yeah, right. You gotta push it off with your finger. Okay. That's the best I can do. If you feel like you didn't get enough, a little extra isn't gonna hurt. Hold on, let me get it off my fingers. And it's all over my counter because it's gucky stuff. But it's nothing that won't come off with water, okay? I think so. Just a little bit more. I just took a teaspoon. You think, Tani?
No.
Yeah? You think more?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. See, it doesn't fall off the spoon. You gotta push it off and it sticks to your finger. Okay, good enough. And we'll see. Get it off our fingers again. Now, if you don't have vanilla powder, I'm just getting a teaspoon out. I'm going to use half a teaspoon. I think I said a quarter, but I think half is better. So I've got my little jar of vanilla powder. I'm going to open it up. Smells nice. And I'm going to stick my spoon in, half a teaspoon, level it off, and I'm going to throw it into the icing sugar. Okay, that's in. Close up the jar. Now I need water. And I need a tablespoon, so hold on. Sorry, I forgot to get one out. There's a tablespoon. Let's get a bowl. No, yeah, okay. I'm gonna get a bowl. Hold on, stay there. No, that's hot. I have no choice. Okay, I'm just gonna fill my bowl with some water. Just cool water. And I'm gonna fill up a tablespoon. That's full, Mommy?
Mm-hmm.
And in it goes. 1. That's full, Mommy?
Mm-hmm.
2. And let's start whisking this. You may need 2 to 4. Okay, you're gonna whisk, whisk, whisk. Sugar, glucose, vanilla, so icing sugar, vanilla, and it needs more water. I'm gonna take another tablespoon. Full.
Mm-hmm.
3.
Mm-hmm.
4. Let's see now. Let's whisk, whisk, whisk. So icing, sugar, vanilla, glucose, and water. Now, it's up to you what you want. You don't want your syrup, your icing to be too runny. But you don't want it to be too thick either. This is really thick. Okay? So you're going to keep adding water and whisking until you get the right consistency. Okay, so let's add a little bit more water. Now remember, if you add too much water, you can just add more icing sugar. I just added one more. So now I'm up to 6 tablespoons. 6 tablespoons. And I'm going to whisk again. Yeah. That's my timer telling me that my cake has been out of the oven for 15 minutes. Okay, because I need to take that out, I'm going to set this aside for a second. So give me 1 second. I need to make room. So I'm covering up the jar of glucose, which needs cleaning, but we'll clean it off camera. And I've got glucose on the counter, so give me a second. I need to get a wet paper towel. And I need to get it off my counter because it's going to stick all over me when I try to deal with the cake in the pan. And it just comes off with water. It's not, don't panic if you get it all over the place. Okay. Let's just dry our counter from the water. Now, I said use a 12-inch pan. Maybe even bigger. It rose to the top. So let's see if it's stuck, because it may have stuck to the sides. I may have to run a knife through. Well, we're going to test it. We're going to take a plate. We're going to put it on top of our cake, but I need my gloves. Hold on. Gloves, gloves. Gloves are hanging in their place. Okay. I'm going to put my gloves on. I have a feeling I got to run a knife around, but I'm going to test it before I do. So, let's put our dinner plate on top of our cake. Elabora. Me focus. Yeah, I'm telling the pan not to go away in Greek. And I'm going to flip. And nothing happens. Well, maybe. Half of it is coming out. So hold on. Let me run a knife. Okay. Machete. Okay, we're gonna run a butter knife around the side of the pan. On the side. So we're just gonna get it loose. Easy to do. Because the cake rose above the pan, it's stuck to the edge of the pan. It's nothing that you can't solve. You're gonna run your knife around, around the pan, just to get it loose. Okay, that's good. I found 2 spots that were stuck. Here it's not, here it's not, here it is. So we do have a stuck spot. We're almost all the way around. Hot stuff, guys. Okay. Don't worry if a little bit crumbles because you're unsticking it. Okay, now it should be good. Let's try it. Okay, put our gloves back on because the pan, is too hot to handle. So gloves are on, dinner plate is on top, and flip. And did it come out? Let's see. Yes, it did. Now, Check the bottom of your pan because you don't want your coin to be anywhere on the bottom. Mine is not. That means it's in my cake. Haha. Put the pan away. Take another dinner plate. Put it on top of your upside down cake that's on a plate and flip again. Take your one plate away. Now the cake is right side up, but it's on a plate. So what you're going to do now, oh, I did it wrong. Yeah. Vlamenim. I did it wrong. Give me a second. Sorry. I got to flip it again. Okay. Cake is upside down on my plate. Now, take your wire rack, put it on your cake, center it. It's hard because I have to do this with one hand. Okay, and now flip it right side on your wire rack. Okay, perfect. There's our cake. We need to let this cool down completely before we can ice it. So let's put our cake to the side, our gloves to the side, and let's go back to our icing sugar. I'm going to grab a little spoon and I'm going to scrape the sides of the bowl. And I'm going to pick up a spoonful and test the texture. No, it needs more. A little bit more water. I left my cupboard door open. Yes, and I just licked my spoon, but I put it in the sink. Okay, grab another tablespoon of water. One, should I do two or one?
Pues tú, alla biani po nero. Valka nero stoccato.
Serota galinefo.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
I've got about 8 tablespoons, so I'm going to whisk again. You need to get this, so I could tell you 6 tablespoons, 8 tablespoons, 10 tablespoons, 4 tablespoons. You just have to keep adding until you get the right consistency. Okay, mine is really, really thick. Now, like I said, I don't want this too runny, but I don't want it this thick either. It's got to be spreadable consistency. Don't worry about what's stuck to the bowl, okay? So I'm whisking. It feels nice. I think I might be happy with this. I'm going to grab a clean spoon. I'm going to grab some with my teaspoon. Feel it. Feels nice now. See? It doesn't run off my spoon. It runs off very, very slowly. And I'm going to taste it. And it's a good consistency. So, you're going to have to play with this until you figure it out. I can't ice my cake until it completely cools down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to stir this up just to make sure I don't have any more lumps. I'm going to let my my Vasilopita, my New Year's Eve, St. Basil's 2024 cake, I'm going to let it cool down completely. And I'm going to come back and ice the cake and decorate it and say goodbye. So see you later. Okay, guys, we're back. So it's been about 2 hours since we took our Vasilopita, our St. Basil's New Year's Eve cake out of the oven. It's been cooling on a wire rack. Our icing is ready. Our cherries are draining. I'm out of chocolate chips, so not going to do it this year. But we're ready to go. I've got the cake on the wire rack. I've got my bowl of icing. I've got a spatula. I've got a dinner plate and my glass cake stand. So I'm going to take my, and parchment paper. I'm going to take my dinner plate. I'm going to put it on top of my cake and I'm going to flip it. Okay, we no longer need the wire rack. I'm going to put that aside. Now, I have parchment paper. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of parchment paper. Okay? I'm going to place them on my cake, overlapping each other. So in the center of, approximately, in the center of the cake, and I'm going to place them on. I'm going to place my cake tray on top of the parchment paper. Try to center it as best you can, and I'm going to flip. And I'm going to remove the dinner plate. Okay, so now what I have is my cake in the center of my stand with 2 pieces of parchment paper underneath. I'm just going to wipe my spatula because it fell in the sink. My sink is clean. I've cleaned it, but I'm just going to wipe it just in case. Make sure. Okay. You're going to take your bowl of icing. I'm going to remove the saran wrap that I have on it, the plastic wrap, because I didn't want my icing to get hard, and throw it in the garbage. I'm going to take a tablespoon, and I'm going to pick up icing, a big tablespoon, and I'm going to plop it on my cake. I'm going to take another tablespoon, and I'm going to plop it on another spot on my cake. And another one. Plop it on my cake. Now, because my cake has a little bit of a, it looks like there's a volcano top. It's got a little bit of a peak. Some people would cut that off. I'm not going to. Some people would turn it upside down so they can get an even layer. I'm not going to. I don't want anything to go to waste. I've plopped 5, tablespoons. You're going to take your rubber spatula and you're going to start spreading your icing. It's going to take a while to cover the entire cake. Now, if any falls on the sides, it doesn't matter because remember, you're going to ice your whole cake, even on the sides. Okay? So you're going to keep doing this until all your icing finishes. You want the top and the sides to have icing. If any falls on your parchment paper, you can pick it up and put it back on. If you think it's enough and your whole cake is covered, then you don't need to pick it off the parchment paper. So let me finish doing this because I have quite a bit of icing and quite a bit of spreading to do, and we'll be back. Okay, guys, we're back. We finished icing our cake, and we didn't use all of the icing. If I used all of the icing, it would have been way too thick. I didn't want that much icing on mine, so I probably didn't use about, I don't know, 5 tablespoons. I used as much to cover it. I think I made it I like the texture of the icing. We did add cherries all around. I'm out of chocolate chips, but you could add, if the camera shows it to you, you could add chocolate chips in between the cherries. Numbers and the cross, you could do with chocolate chips, or almonds, or just with a knife, whatever you desire. Now, you have your 2 pieces of parchment paper under the cake. Just pull them, and they should come out. I know, Mama, I know. So what happens is, because the icing sticks, you kind of might have to ruin your design a little bit. Because when you try to pull it, the cake moves as well. I love how the chefs do it so easy. That's how I'm going to do it. I actually need another person to help me, and I don't have anybody because my mom is doing the camera. So, we'll do it. We'll get it. I'm getting icing on my hands, yes. Okay. Because I need help, I need somebody to hold the cake in place while I pull the parchment paper. And my mom's doing the camera and I can't do it right now. So I will do it off camera, but you'll see it in, for those of you who are sighted, you'll see it without the parchment paper at the beginning of the video where I show you what we're going to make. So in the meantime, I would like to say Happy New Year to everybody. I hope that the year coming is the best year ever. May the good Lord, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, bless you and your families and your homes. I wish nothing but the best for all of you. Health and happiness and humbleness. Those are my wishes for fans, friends, relatives, family, enemies, and all the world. Peace and love may sound cliche, but it's the most important thing in the world. And I will see you next week. Or, sorry, I'll probably see you in a few weeks. I usually take time off after New Year's. So I will take some time off and we'll be back with great episodes in a few weeks. I'd like to say, I'd like to send my wishes to my family in Greece. So bear with me. It's time for Greek. Χρόνια πολλά σε όλους. Εύχομαι το νέο έτος να είναι το καλύτερο που έχετε βιώσει μέχρι τώρα. Σας εύχομαι μόνο αγάπη, ευτυχία και υγεία και ταπεινοσύνη. Στην οικογένεια μου, στους φίλους μου, στους εχθρούς μου, στους συγγενείς μου και σε όσους βλέπουν αυτό το βίντεο. Με πολύ πολύ αγάπη από εμένα, χρόνια πολλά, ευτυχισμένο το νέο έτος. Σας αγαπώ όλους πολύ. I love you guys very much. See you on the next episode in a few weeks. Bye! Happy New Year! I am your host, Zoe Fiogos. With sincere love and gratitude, I thank you for watching Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner.